Hey guys, so I know some of you guys started this yesterday. This video is for the ones that didn't watch it yesterday or didn't do the notes yesterday and for Wednesday. Of course not. Alright, so we're starting the cardiovascular system. The cardiovascular system is a closed circuit that consists of the heart, blood vessels like your arteries, your capillaries, and your veins. A functional cardiovascular system is vital to supply oxygen and nutrients to tissue and removing waste from them. So your arteries transport heart away from the blood while your veins bring it back. And your capillaries are vessels that run in between your arteries and your veins. Oxygen-poor blood is carried by the pulmonary circuit into the lungs, where it is picked up, or it picks up oxygen and drops off carbon dioxide. This is why we inhale oxygen and exhale carbon dioxide. The systematic circuit sends oxygen-rich blood to all cells, where it drops off oxygen and picks up carbon dioxide. So the cycle happens really fast. That is our basic overview of our cardiovascular system. We're going to go into the structure of the heart. So your heart is hollow and cone-shaped. Hold on. So this is your heart. This is a model of the heart. It's cone-shaped. It's a muscle that pumps with a mediastinum in the thoracic cavity. So the size of your heart is really the size and the location of your heart. Your average heart is 14 centimeters long and 9 centimeters wide. So it's about the size of your fist. About it. It lies in between your lungs and it's anterior to the vertebral column, which means it's in front of your spinal cord and behind your sternum. So it sits right about here in the middle of your chest. A little bit more of its mass to the left side. Its base lies beneath the second rib, and your apex extends to the fifth intercostal space. So it just kind of moves down and is in between your ribs. So there are coverings to your heart. First one we're going to talk about is a pericardium. It is the membranous sac that encloses your heart. So imagine this in a very thin sac that helps kind of keep it protected. It consists of two portions. There's the outer layer, which is made up of connective tissue that's fibrous, and then there's the inner layer, which is a double layer of serous pericardium, which consists of your parietal pericardium, the outer layer of your serous membrane, which lines the inner surface of fibrous pericardium, and then your visceral pericardium, or your epicardium, which is the inner layer of your serous membrane that covers the heart. Then you have a pericardial cavity, the space between the visceral and parietal layers, which contains serous fluid, serous fluid for reducing frictions between each layer. Hold on, I'm going to move this to my other screen. There we go. So your wall of your heart consists of 3 layers: your epicardium, or your visceral pericardium, this is the outermost layer. So if we're looking at this model, it has an open flap. So it would be this very thin outermost layer right here. It is made up of connective tissue. You can kind of see how that looks. This is also in class if you want to come look at it. Your myocardium, which is your middle layer, which consists of cardiac muscle and is the thickest part of the wall heart. This pretty thick layer right here. And it pumps blood out of the heart chambers. And then your endocardium, which is made up of connective tissue. I don't know if you can quite see the texture, but they did change it. This is all connective tissue in the inside of your heart. That's your endocardium. It's made up of connective tissues and epithelium and is continuous with the endothelium of the major vessels joining the heart. Alright, so your heart has different layers but also different chamber areas. So it has 4 chambers. 2 of them are upper. In this case, here is one of your upper chambers, and this one over here, this white one right here, is the second one. These are called your atria, and then you have 2 lower ones. So this one, and then this red one are your ventricles. Your atria receive your blood that's returning to your heart. These are pretty thin. They don't have much of the mass from your heart in them. And then they have, like, it says ear-like projecting from their exterior. That's what these are. If you kind of look, it looks like the end of your ear. They're the thick muscled ventricles pump the blood out of the heart. So the thickest part of your heart are your ventricles, which are these red ones. We're just going to open this one. Red ones. They also have valves, which we're going to go into here in just a minute. But these are the most muscular ones because they contract to actually pump the blood out of your heart. A septum separates the atrium and the ventricle, which is just this. On the right from those on the left. You also have one right here. Each side of the atrioventricular valve, or AV valve, has an AV valve to ensure the blood flows one way. So if you look at our model, they kind of look like worms because our model is broken. There it is. But this is an example of one of the valves, and on this side, this one is where it looks like heartworms, but it's not, I promise. It's a valve. Again, this model is in class, so if you want to come look at it, you totally can. It's kind of fun to play with. AV, so this side. So this valve right here, this side. And the left, so your right AV or your tricuspid, and then you have your left or your bicuspid valve, has cusps that which coordinate tendonae attach. So that just means it has little bitty tendons that attach to it. Coordinate tendonae are attached to the papillary muscles and the inner wall of the heart. These muscles contract during ventricular contraction to prevent backflow. So these little things that look like worms, close. These are your tendonae. They close back while your heart pumps, so it doesn't pump back up into the wall of the heart or to the atrium. Come on. Trying to get it to work and it's not working. There we go. All right. So we're going to talk about the skeleton. Your heart has no bones in it, so there's no true skeleton. But it is a ring of dense connective tissue that surrounds your pulmonary trunk and aorta. You can't really see it on the model. So I'm going to put the model down. All right, they provide attachments for the heart valves and muscle fibers. These are tough rings that prevent dilating of outlets of the atria and the ventricles in this area. The skeleton of the heart are fibrous rings plus the dense connective tissue and the interventricular septum. There it goes. All right, so your blood obviously flows through your heart or you wouldn't be here. It does proceed one way, but it does have two different circuits. We kind of touched on them in 11.1. So you have subdivisions for blood flow with respect to gas changes. So your pulmonary circuit is the blood that flows between your heart and your lungs. Pulmonary is the scientific word for lungs. So if you need to be able to think to remember that, pulmonary has an O and it connects to oxygen. Or you can come up with another way that you need to. And then you have systematic circuits, which is the blood flow from your heart and the blood flow between your heart and your body tissues. So it stops at the pulmonary circuit first to get all that oxygen and to drop off carbon dioxide. And then it goes in between your heart and your blood tissues to make sure all your organs have oxygen. All right, so your oxygen, this deals with more of the blood flow supplied to your heart, okay? Whoa, I think I skipped some. I'm going the wrong way. Blood flow through your heart. All right, so your oxygen blood returns to the right atrium via the vena cava. So again, this is your right atrium. This right here is your vena cava. It is what directly leads all your unoxygenated blood into your heart, okay? So your right tricuspid valve into the right ventricle. So you go down, it forces it down. The right ventricle contracts, closing the tricuspid valve, forcing the blood through the pulmonary similar valve into the pulmonary trunk and to the arteries. I don't know. So it goes out this way. This is the back of your heart. This is your pulmonary valve. And then the pulmonary valve carries blood to the lungs. Then it enters your polar capillaries. Ooh, I cannot talk. And your oxygen-rich blood flows back into the left atrium via the pulmonary veins. That's what these blue things are on the model. They are not blue in your body, by the way. They are blue, but they're not. They look blue. Okay, the left atrium pumps the blood through the bicuspid valve into the left ventricle. The left ventricle contracts, opening the aortic valve, which is in the very back, into the blood to distribute it to the rest of your body. Okay. So your blood supply to the heart, you have left and right coronary arteries. These are your first branches of your aorta, which carry oxygen-rich blood into the heart. Blood flows increase during relaxation of the ventricles because the mitochondrial vessels are not compressed. Due to the constant pumping heart action, cardiac muscle cells require a continuous supply of oxygen. So, branches of the coronary arteries feed many capillaries of the mitochondria, and branches of the coronary arteries often have connections called enzymes. These provide an alternative pathway for bloods. And the cardiac veins drain blood from your heart muscle to carry it to the coronary sinus, a large vein that empties into the right atrium, so that way it can become oxygenated blood. Whew. All right. So I know I don't have your to-do list, but you guys do have an Ed puzzle over the central nervous system. It's called Ed Puzzle CS.